Harara bahani madani bu agar area renguri niur hejio military sarara hattu military hara di tekke tebe jeti ngari bada mari khale hara military kum majede intu kum majede intu zargara di de military ha tu gu ashi lomade tu fire go thaile ra samara ar mut mari bele
These people have just crossed the border. They're in no man's land. They've been driven from their homes in Myanmar. Now they're waiting for permission to enter Bangladesh. The Rohingya are a people that neither country wants.
What happened in your village?
They just burnt our houses.
These are some of the survivors. They're hungry, they're sick, and they're scared. Across the river, there's a deliberate campaign of terror going on. A campaign from which no one is safe.
Well, we don't know how many people have been killed, but we do have some idea of how many have been burnt and chased out of their homes. These are just a tiny fraction of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who have fled. In our investigation, we're going to focus on the events of one day, of one massacre in one village, and its name is Tulatoli.
Since August, more than 600,000 people have sought refuge in the camps in Bangladesh. People who brought little with them but the nightmarish memories of their experiences at the hands of the Burmese military. We've come here to find survivors of the Tulatoli massacre. We've spoken to 6 of them. We've cross-referenced their testimony with video evidence.
Absolutely horrific pictures.
With maps of the local area, as well as with interviews collected by human rights organisations. What emerges is a picture of systematic violence. Violence that has been described as a textbook example of ethnic cleansing.
military hodon ayer edin 30 tarik August 30 tarik ayer de 8 baji baade hobu dinor 8 baji baade ria
2017 বুধবার অগস্ট মাসের 30 তারিখের মধ্যে 90 মিলিটারি আয়রে
Using a satellite photograph of the area, a Rohingya elder showed me how the massacre unfolded. The village of Tulatoli consists of a number of settlements surrounded on 3 sides by the meandering flow of a river. In previous days, soldiers had set fire to other villages on the opposite bank. That Wednesday morning, the 30th of August, they crossed into Tulatoli. There was panic.
Dashot military, Burmar military na. Tawa ela furadi guli mari ayer.
দেলদার লাইসি আর দেখে আমি কি বা একর মাঝে 307 300 গুলি যা এক এবে সরা দিবে ইনলে সাবি করি লয়া এখন যা তাকে মানে জিয়ত হয়ে শেষ ক্লিয়ার রে
আইতে ফারাবে গুলাই তারা সাই ছেড়ে নিয়ে গই তেলা মানুষ ডরে আরারে কাদা ওই কেমর খরতলির হালো সরা আছে ডর মানুষ বেগুলুন ইয়ার মাঝে জমই গই
Everyone mentions the river. With the soldiers advancing from the northwest and a police post to the south, many of the villagers ran east. They ended up on the riverbank. They were trapped.
And hoyoro gor furadi orinti hal hasa ba mere shiri yoro ba di tarare bula yoro fola tiagara ba de bediandero hodmani tomara arare shuna shani do ede mokasu mokhata ene ban hata hodu buza darbo Shuna Hani does not rush and for Chanel. I do. And hopefully for the billion Bugun Tiagaray. Tiagaraba, the Abar. Bugunan, the should the river, the full of bad and magic.
গুলি মারতে মারতিন হদিনলা মার দেড়ে এলা যার ফরান যে কি সে তুন দুধের হালভারার গই আর কি আর মিছে দুধের এনিলা টেনলা গরি মানুষ সজন বাইছে আর বুগুনের মাঝে এই বেড়াইনা মর থইলে গুরা এনিলা গুরা মইলে মারি ফেলাই.
And you yourself were on the other side of the river. Anura showed us where she and others swam across the river at a point downstream where it was narrow enough to cross. They used banana trees and plastic canisters as life rafts. Did you see this with your own eyes? From a hill on the opposite bank, they watched the horror unfold.
ওইন্দরা দে এটা মরা মানুষ কত নাই সরন মাদে ওনর গুছে উজুগুজি তারারে উজুগুরিয়ে রে হাত গানাতে মরি গুলি মাঝে মতন মরি নদার গই ই নর ফড় আর ফাই মার দে বাজি হলে খবল না यार মাথা চাই রে
ফুরাদি বাদে গাতকল মারে বাদে গাতকল খুঁজে মানুষ দুজন জিয়াদা নছিল এই গাতকল মানুষ গুণা নিয়ে ডাইছে বল এরি বাদে মানুষ হতন তাই বললা বসকা নিল সম্বল তমল নেই ইন্দু ওটু দি তারা ফুরা দিয়ে হতো ফুনার তারা ওটু ফুরা দিলে
তো হয়নি নে কুলো তুলে লইরে মেলা দি দিওরে নিলা ফাড়ালো ফাই মারের ফুসার বাড়ি মারের গুলির বাড়ি মারের হেঙ্গর দিন আর মানে ওকুটু সাইতাই কেউ দে.
The horrific scenes she witnessed still give her nightmares. Anura watched the bodies of her neighbour's children wash up on the riverbank. The scene was filmed by another villager. The children's names were Rashida, 5 years old, Kushida, 3, and Zahidu, who was 11 months. Anura Begum, her husband and her 4 children all managed to escape with their lives. Mohammed Suleiman was not so fortunate. He and his youngest daughter Shahida survived, but 3 of her sisters were killed, and so was their mother.
Shahida handederi ma Allah taala handederi ba ana shekedu Neta mau ngandina mau tuan di mana.
The violence began 5 days before the massacre at Tulatoli, on the 25th of August, when members of a Rohingya militant group attacked a number of police posts inside Myanmar, killing 12. In response, the Burmese military began what they call clearance operations. Boats filled with refugees have been coming ever since.
It's 2 months since the terrible incidents that we've been looking at, and these people are saying that it's still going on.
Some have accused the Burmese government of using the attacks by the militants as a pretext for a vicious and indiscriminate crackdown against civilians.
The Bangladeshi authorities monitor what goes on the other side of the border. And I've been told that from the beginning of August, so about 3 weeks before the violence started, they noticed an increase in military activity on the Myanmar side. Now, if that's true, that would suggest an element of preparation for the violence that followed. And this is a suggestion that we've heard corroborated by some of the witnesses we've spoken to as well.
We were told about an incident that happened nearly 2 weeks before the massacre at Tulatoli. Also before the attacks by the militant group known as the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, which sparked the response by the Burmese military.
দলাগরণের পরে এলাকাত দে খদে তোমারে হরাম মানুষ দড়ি দিবলা এক জানানো হই দে আলিখিন দড়ি দিবলা আলিখিনকে দড়ি নদ এন হ
Were they trying to recruit people in the village? Was there some truth to that?
না আরা বখনোদিন না আলিখিন হইরে বিদেশি মানুষ আরা ফারাদ নই দেখি আরা আতিয়ার লইস দসুরিলে বখনোদিন নই দেখি আরা ফারাগুল দেখি দি ফারাগুল তোনো
Witnesses said the policemen were called in by the village administrator, a local Buddhist government official. A few days later, that same official called a meeting. Elders from both communities were asked to sign a kind of peace treaty.
Was that unusual to be asked to do something like that?
The Rohingya of Tulatoli saw that document as an explicit guarantee of their safety. It's because of this that they stayed in their homes even when they saw other villages being burnt. Now they believe the administrator double-crossed them. Almost everyone we spoke to mentioned this village administrator, the local government representative. His name is Aung Kyo Singh. He would accuse the villagers of supporting the militants, some said. Others that he tried to force them to register as foreigners. Another village elder, Nobi Hussain, told me that before the massacre, he and Mr. Singh had been in regular contact.
Do you have his phone number? Can you call him?
Karim. Lulami.
Human rights investigators and journalists have been trying to talk to this man for months. None have managed to contact him until now. Mr. Hussain lost a son and 3 grandchildren in the attack. Now, over a crackly phone line, he accuses the village administrator of complicity in the massacre.
আর তুলাতুলি কদিন খাবছর না গজিলাম ইয়ান লো মৌসিমত গজি তুইয়া বুকুন আরে জাতকা দিবি আইসি দিদি আর হলে কদিন ওই ইনদিনা আসে বলে এসা মামুতারে বলে নহবুদে আরা তে সাইতো ভাইতো পড়া হিসাবে তে ভাইতো হ দিদি মানসি ও মানে নহরে ইন ওটা মারি দে কি ওই ওটা মারি দে Andilade majjadi ang khopot de nai.
At the end of the conversation, Mr. Hussain seems unconvinced.
Do you believe him?
No lagi. Tas ur. Ere manshuru buddhi tas si nule tarham no. Kono barad de no.
The majority of Myanmar's Rohingya Muslims have by now already fled. Dispossessed and stateless, the mud-soaked camps of Bangladesh are what they must, for now, call home. The Burmese government says its military operations in Rakhine State are a response to attacks by militants from the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army on the 25th of August. But what about those reports of troop movements weeks earlier?
Well, we're on our way now to meet an officer in the Bangladeshi border guard who might know more about this and might be willing to talk to us. Hello, Major.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, fine.
Good. Well, the Major said he wasn't authorised to speak to the BBC on camera, but we did have a conversation off camera, and he said I could quote him with the following, that they saw from around the 5th of August a huge concentration, those are his words, of Myanmar military in the border area. He said apart from burning people's homes, they extorted valuables, took their money. I asked him what the purpose of all of this was. He said they're trying to make Rakhine State Rohingya free.
By late morning on the 30th of August, on the riverbank at Tulatoli, dozens of people had already been murdered. But it wasn't over yet. Some villagers had escaped by swimming across the river, but many remained behind, especially younger women who'd been separated from the rest by the soldiers. Those who survived endured an ordeal of almost unimaginable horror.
আর শরণ জায়গা আসা গুতা মাঝে বাদ জুলুম গজ্জে বাদ ইনতু সিনাস আসা বাড়ি মারি মারি আরে ফেলাই যে জুলুম করে বাদ তো বাদ ফুরাদি ফেলাই মাঝে দে ফেলাই মারি ফেলাই যে মরা দিকে উড়ে কি
দরদাবাদি তারা তো দিলাম হল্লা করে গরিব গইথা দিলে মারের তো গরিব আদে তো মেজর জরগরাদের কি ওরা খুব মারে জরগরা ইনারা জরগরা দিরা بعد تو مرامده بگم تر بیجتی گری بعد پانی پنای جدا مرامده موریگه و تری ریاگی تریای نارا بودتون بعد اون شهر گرم بعد اون در دیو ملتری
تو یارا فورا یدی این تماشا آرا دیگه زاجه باب بکوماره سوری لولوی سوری گندارو ته کوکوت کاری فلته بیتا آرا زایتو دان سب تو زیاد دین تو زیاد دی
Severely burnt and wounded, Momtaz managed to crawl to safety and eventually escape under cover of darkness. She came to Bangladesh with her 7-year-old daughter, Razia. Razia was beaten by the soldiers but survived. The others did not. One of her children, she said, was burnt to death.
ওই নমাদে গোমালা মাঝে না আদুয়ার বাজ্জা বাজাউন মারি ফেলাই বাজ্জা বাজাউন মারি ফেলাই বাহরে গুলি মারি ফেলাই
At least one other survivor of the Tulatoli massacre has reported that her young child was thrown into a fire. Others had infants torn from their arms.
گربتا ایون تو حالا هزار تابی شمال کلوله دو فعال يعني رجال قلير دوار مادي ما ده فعال ولا فلات سهل وتنو ده بعدين ده تاني ده راس ماري فلات يوم مادي
আত গাবি মাথা টনটনা ফুরালা লরি সরি না হারি
Momtaz is only 30 years old. The men who raped her, who killed her children, were soldiers. But she, like others, told us that non-Rohingya civilians took part in the attack that day as well, demanding money and valuables.
Mongna farar mok, military farar mok bogun.
कौन फारा
Ara fararo de.
सीनो ना
Tulatilla.
नाम जानो ना
Nam no jani. Mok sina sini de.
I wondered about the Buddhist village administrator. No one we spoke to said he personally took part in the attack, and it seems unlikely a local civilian official could have stopped the powerful Burmese military. But still, it felt like he had questions to answer.
Hello, sir. It's the BBC here. Just to say, we're recording this call. Can I ask you, why did you not warn the villagers that the army was going to come in? The people here say that you wanted the Rohingya out of the village, that you wanted them gone.
The Burmese government doesn't regard the Rohingya Muslims as citizens of Myanmar. Stuck in the camps in Bangladesh without official status, it'll be hard for them to return home, even if they felt it was safe to do so. The United Nations has called this ethnic cleansing. Others prefer the term genocide. By whatever name you call it, the massacre at Tula was a monstrous crime. A crime the Burmese government is not investigating. Every evening on the border, more people try to cross to safety in Bangladesh. New arrivals say their villages are still being burnt, that they're still being chased and terrorized from their homes. If it continues like this, there won't be many Rohingya left in Myanmar.